On this channel, we provide useful programming information with practical code examples. This time, it's about functions in JavaScript. You can learn about various types of functions, such as how to define functions like function expressions and arrow functions, as well as callback functions and closures. Enabling subtitles will make the code descriptions easier to understand. Functions in JavaScript are blocks of reusable code used to perform specific tasks. Using functions improves code readability and makes maintenance easier. Functions can be defined in several ways and manipulated flexibly using arguments and return values. Functions can be defined using the function keyword. Function declarations are hoisted before the code runs, so they can be called before they're defined. In this example, because the greet function is called before its declaration, hello, everyone, and hello, Alice, are displayed. Functions can also be defined by assigning them to a variable. In this case, the function is not hoisted and can only be called after it is defined. In this example, hello, Bob, will be displayed. Arrow functions are a way to define functions with a shorter syntax. They are particularly useful when using anonymous functions, functions without a name. Arrow functions also have a different behavior regarding the this keyword. Functions can be declared as greet and greet short in this example. If the function is one line, you can omit the curly braces, like greet short. Values passed to a function are called arguments. By specifying arguments when defining a function, you can pass values when calling the function. You can specify a default value if no value is passed to the arguments. In this example, if greet is called, the default guest is used. You can return a return value from a function using the return statement. If there is no return statement, the function returns undefined. In this example, since greet does not return a value, the return value is undefined. A function without a name is called an anonymous function. They are often used as function expressions or arrow functions. An immediately invoked function expression, IIFE, is a function that is executed as soon as it is defined. It is usually used to control scope. It is executed as soon as it is declared. Passing a function as an argument to another function, for later execution, is called a callback function. It is frequently used in asynchronous processing and event handling. In this example, a function that outputs a value to the console is passed as a callback function. Calling a function itself is called recursion, and a function that performs repetitive processing using this is called a recursive function. For example, a function to calculate a factorial can be implemented using recursion as follows. In this example, the factorial of 5, which is 120, will be displayed. The this used inside a function indicates which object the function is referring to. In a regular function, it refers to the calling object, but in arrow functions, it retains the this of the scope in which it was defined. The greet of the obj variable is declared using the function keyword. Therefore, the this keyword refers to the object of the obj variable. On the other hand, the greet of the obj 2 inches variable is declared using an arrow function. Therefore, the this keyword refers to the object in the outer scope and is undefined in this example. Variables defined inside a function cannot be accessed from outside the function. This is called function scope. There is also a feature called closure that retains the scope at the point when the function is defined. In this example, the inner function can access the outer var variable because it retains the scope in which it was defined. The source code for this video can be downloaded from the official website. If you like, please visit the URL in the description to aid your learning. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to enjoy more content, please subscribe to the channel.